You need to learn how to make lemon meringue pie. First, we'll make our crust by combining flour, baking soda, and salt and giving it a whisk. Then we'll add in cold, cubed butter, and using my hands, I'm gonna break all that butter into pea-sized bits while also pressing and rolling it into the flour. Now, 1 tablespoon at a time, drizzle in some ice water and continue mixing in that exact same way as the dough begins to come together. Add that cold water until your dough looks like this. Press and shape it out into a disc, then cover with plastic wrap and let it rest in the fridge for at least an hour. Once our dough is nice and cold, it's time to roll it out. Using a tiny dusting of flour, we want to get it exactly 11 inches across so it can cover the bottom and sides of our 9-inch pie pan. And remember, the more evenly you roll it out, the more evenly it'll bake in the oven. Once you've measured and gotten it as close as you possibly can, carefully roll it up using your rolling pin, then bring in your pie pan and unroll the rolling pin to drape it over. Do whatever you need here to let the pie crust settle into the pan. Now, find the edge of the pie crust and pinch it to extend it just a little bit further out, just enough that you can fold it back under itself like this. Try to do this part fairly quickly so your butter doesn't begin to melt. If it does, it can start to become very difficult to work with. Now that my crust is rolled all the way around the edges, we'll crimp the edge of our crust by using 1 knuckle to push from the outside while my thumb and finger on the other side create this beautiful wavy scalloped pattern. It can take some time to figure out, but if you mess up, just reshape the dough and try again. If you get anything that looks remotely like this, you did a great job. This now goes into the freezer for at least 1 hour to set before baking. But as you know, I don't like to make you wait. As a next step, I'm going to crumple up some parchment paper. This is a helpful trick to help you shape it however you want. Then place this into our crust and pour in the pie weights. If you don't have pie weights, you can substitute with rice or dried beans, anything to weigh it down while it bakes. Trim off any excess parchment just above the crust and toss this into the oven at 375 for 18 to 20 minutes, or until the dough has set but not gotten much color. While that's doing its first bake, we'll make a quick egg wash by combining 1 egg and a splash of water, then mixing this up until it's fully combined. And once our pie crust looks something like this, we'll remove the beads, lightly brush the whole thing with egg wash, making sure to hit every possible spot if you want your pie to look golden brown. And once you're certain it's been fully coated, back in the oven it goes while we prep our fillings. To make our filling, we'll start by adding lemon zest to lemon juice to let that bloom. This will really get all those oils and all that flavor out of the lemon. While that sits, we'll separate out our eggs. Once we've separated out our eggs, we'll head over to the stove where we'll combine our sugar, cornstarch, and salt over no heat and whisk to combine. Now, while continuing to whisk, slowly pour in the lemon juice that's infused with that lemon zest, as well as some water, and make sure they're fully combined. Then turn your heat to medium and whisk constantly for about 2 minutes, during which you'll see it bubble and thicken up. Add your egg yolks to a larger bowl and then temper in while whisking constantly half of that sugar cornstarch mixture, at which point you can add the egg mixture back to the pot to combine everything, still whisking so that you don't get scrambled eggs. Your arms may get tired, so this is a good time to learn how to whisk with both hands. Once it reaches this nice thick and glossy consistency, move it off the heat, add in some butter, and continue whisking until that's fully melted. Now, I'll bring in my hot golden pie crust. I should probably put something under that. And pour in our hot lemon filling. Scrape off every last drop of this stuff. It's delicious. And then make sure to spread it as evenly as possible inside the pie crust. Now, we need to make the final component of our lemon meringue pie, the actual meringue. Into a pot, we'll add some sugar, water, and a pinch of salt, and turn the heat to medium-low. While that heats up, I'll jump over here to prepare my meringue. Into a clean stand mixer, I'll add those egg whites from earlier, along with a splash of vanilla extract and some cream of tartar, and let this mix on low for just a few seconds. Back to my sugar syrup, which we don't want to stir. Instead, we swirl. And as needed, use a pastry brush to scrape down the sides. We're making what's called an Italian meringue. Not because I'm Italian, but because it's more stable than a French meringue and will torch better for our lemon meringue pie. Once the temperature comes to 230 Fahrenheit, go back to the mixer and bring it up to speed 4. Then back to your sugar while that's mixing, because now we need to get this up 10 more degrees. The second it hits 240, run it back to your mixer, then turn it all the way up and pour in a gradual, steady stream until all the sugar syrup has been added. Not against the side of the bowl, but straight into the meringue. That right there is the perfect Italian meringue. Now it's time to add our hot meringue onto our hot filling, but there's a specific method to do this. First, we lay down a very thin layer of that meringue, and what we want to do here is fuse the meringue with that top layer of curd. We don't want there to be any air bubbles or gaps. Do this first step very carefully and focused. The fun thing about a lemon meringue pie is you can shape that meringue however you want. And now that I'm happy with mine, this can go back into the oven for a few more minutes to set. It's time for my favorite part, torching the lemon meringue pie. Let's play some fancy music. Once your pie is fully torched, you're supposed to leave it for 3 hours at room temperature to fully set. There are times where I've just dug in there pretty much right away with a spoon. It doesn't look pretty, but it tastes great. But if you want to get that beautiful, iconic cross-section shot, you need to wait and then cut it with a warm knife, and that's pretty worth it too. No matter what you decide, it'll be delicious either way. This one tastes a lot better than the one I made as a kid, I'll tell you that.